are looking at giving and liberality. So I'm going to take from liberality and push it forward from there. Father, Lord, let your word be released to us in Jesus' name. What exactly is liberality? What exactly is liberality? And each time you come here, there's something that God wants to change about you. And what we are looking at today too is very significant. It's something that has to do with your attitude, your person, your type of your behavior. What exactly is liberality? First and foremost, liberality is the ability, the quality of being able to give freely. All right? Liberality is the quality of being able to give freely. Now, liberality in that description is not just giving. All right? Because you can give and not give freely. As a matter of fact, some people perpetually cannot give freely. They give. Because to open their hand, you need to break several molecular forces, including Van der Waals. To give. They give, but they give. You don't understand. You discover that if you are not able to give freely, actually you don't know you have a problem. You don't know. And sincerely, some of us are going to realize today that actually you have a problem. Especially if you are from one part of Ogun State. I don't want to say. You know the part. Eh? You were born. When you were born, in fact, the doctor that had to open, they had to use energy because you were born. It's in the blood. The Bible says the Cretans are liars. So those people who are born in that area, they are born naturally to lie. And so those people in Ogun State, they are the opposite of liberality is actually stingy. Stingy means tight-fisted. The ability, the quality of being able to give freely is liberality. In other words, a deliverance has happened to you if you have been able to live a life that can give freely. Something has happened to you, and that thing that has happened to you is what I trust God for it to happen to you today, in the name of Jesus. And a liberal person marries a stingy person is confusion. They will argue every day. Every day. Every time. They will argue every time. But a stingy person simply is stingy because he doesn't understand some things. And some things have not settled in his spirit. And some other things have settled in his spirit. So he needs deliverance. And the deliverance he needs is first deliverance by the word of God. And that's why you are hearing today. See, some of the breakthroughs we are praying for are hanging on top of some of these things we are dealing with here. But it's just that people prefer somebody to say, I put it to you now. Receive the car in the name of Jesus. Jesus said, I show you a better way. There is a way to get some things without shouting. They flow because you stay where it flows. And you just live life, without, having to struggle over many things. So it's a problem. Even to give God offering, you must tie it to a shoe. God, this 200 naira. I am giving you. In faith that you are going to give me my shoe. Abba. Every time you give God 5 naira in church, he must give you something. You must tie it to something. How can I give you 505 naira like that? You must give me something back. And please don't forget. Because it's paining me. You know I'm supposed to spend this money. Can you give God, even God, freely? You can't even give God freely. Talk less of a human being. All right? So we're going to look at liberality, the quality of being able, the quality, not just ability, the quality, the ability, the quality of being able to give freely. Tell your neighbor, what is liberality? Say, the quality of being able to give freely. So the first thing that we're discovering about that quality is in 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1 to 3, the fact that it is a grace. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1 to 3. Let's read verse 1 to 3, and then we'll read verse 7. Moreover, brethren, we do you to wit of the grace. Everybody say the grace. The grace of God bestowed on the churches of Macedonia, how that in a great trial of affliction, the abundance of their joy and their deep poverty, two things, the abundance of their joy and their deep poverty, abounded unto the riches of their liberality. For to their power, I bear record, yea, and beyond their power, they were willing of themselves. Now, look at what these guys were doing. Let's give it to me in Message Bible. Read it in Message Bible. Now, everybody, read with me. 1 to go. Now, friends, I want to report on the surprising and generous ways in which God is working in the churches in Macedonia. Wait, Macedonia promise. So, which church is he talking about here? No, he's talking to some other people, right? Who are not in this particular church. Do you understand the story now? So he's telling them that, friends, I want to report on the surprising. Surprising means it's not expected. And generous ways in which God is working. God is working. So the liberality of this particular church is what they're talking about here. So he's saying that liberality is a product of the working of God. It's not normal. And you will soon discover that this liberality that he's talking about now cannot be normal. Verse 2. Everybody read. Fierce troubles came down on the people of those churches. Which churches? Thank you very much. Pushing them to the very limit. Which kind of trouble? Fierce trouble. Pushing them to the very limit. Go on. The trial exposed their true colors. Now, what is their true color? They were incredibly happy, though desperately poor. Now, listen to me. There is poor and there is desperately poor. It's not the same thing. How many people have been desperately poor before? I say desperately poor means that your poor is harmful. I mean, if something doesn't happen to that poor at that point in time, then something bad is going to happen. You see, you can be poor and be okay. Not that you are really okay, but at least you are not dead. You are not going to die. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. But there are some junctions when your poverty is risky. When something must happen, as in it's a desperate something. If you have never been there, you will not understand. Desperately poor is when you are supposed, your school fees has not come, and exam is next week, and portal is about to close, and there is no hope in view, and you have read. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is the time when somebody comes to you and say, can you help Brother Marcus? He needs 50 naira. You say, my guy. My guy. Please, let me not talk. Please, just let me not talk. Do you understand what I'm saying? Say, that brother needs help. Say, my guy. They were desperately poor, but something happened. They were unhappy and desperately poor. When you are desperately poor, you are not happy. In fact, if they don't even know you are desperately poor, when they see you, they will they will know something's wrong with you. Now, they were incredibly happy. They were not just happy. Two extremes. Incredibly happy versus desperately poor. They don't match. Are you getting what I'm saying? That you are desperately poor and you are incredibly happy. In other words, and desperately poor. Now look at this. The pressure triggered something totally unexpected. An outpouring of pure and generous gifts. Read on. I was there and saw it for myself. They gave offerings of whatever they could. Now listen to me. Far more than they could afford. These guys they are talking about here, what is the condition of their finances? Desperately poor. So Paul was saying, these people made it clear that liberality is a grace. You don't understand. Let me explain to you. You can be poor and be stingy. You didn't hear me. You can be poor, as in poor. You don't have money. And actually, you are stingy. But your stinginess will not show very clearly when you are poor. If we want that stinginess to show, we say you are stingy. You say, I'm not stingy. I don't have money. You are stingy. You say, no. If I have money, because I don't have money, you say, no problem. What do you do to that person to convince him that he's stingy? Give him 1 million. Watch him for 6 months. You will discover that the same way he was doing when he had 1,000 is actually in a higher scale the same way he's doing with 1 million. Because even with 1 million naira now, you will say, if I had more money, I actually have some projects I'm doing now. You see now, the projects have come to enter the space of the money. That 10 million. There are some human beings, no matter how much they have in this life, they can never buy anybody a car. Because they don't have the RAM to carry that act. Their heart is so hard, is so tight, that they believe manage it. So you can be poor and be stingy. You can be rich and be stingy. You can be poor and be liberal. You can be rich and be liberal. So your liberality is not a function of what you have. It is a nature you have that will make use of whatever you have. Have you seen some villagers, some elderly women, that if you enter their house, they are not rich, they are rich, they don't have money. But, in fact, if you really want to know liberality, go to the village. How many people know what I'm talking about here? These old women, that their rapper self is what you use to clean floor in your house. If you enter some people like that have this grace, if you were to just say, I came to greet you, ma, by the time you are leaving their house, listen to me, even if it is matches, they will go and look for it and beg you to please accept it. You are the one saying, Mama, I'm the one saying, no, it's my nature It's just that the nature did not have enough things to use to express. Hey! It's like the crippled guy that is dancing, that is saying his leg that is not there, that is not making it show that I am dancing. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So liberality is first and foremost a nature. Not first and foremost a function of what you have. So you can be liberal even though you don't have. The thing is that the nature will still find a way to express himself even with your unhaving situation. Let me put it that way. So these guys in Macedonian church proved to the world that liberality is not a function of what you have. So they didn't have money. They didn't have much, but they had a nature. They had a what? A grace. That grace will come upon you in this service in the name of Jesus. A grace to give. A grace to give. It's a grace. Even when they were desperately poor. So Paul said, Kai, there is a grace upon the churches of Macedonia. Read verse 7 for me. And he's talking up to this. Who is he talking to? He's talking to other people, right? He's talking to the people in the Corinthian church. And he's saying, look at you guys. He said, you do so well in so many things. You trust God. So now, these Corinthian church people, what do they do well? They trust God. Kai, these guys can trust God. If they need miracle, they can trust God. They are trust God. Corinthian trusts. They trust God. What else do they have? They are articulate. What else do they have? Kai, they get them for insight. These guys, God, Jesus, they can have insight. What else do they have? My God, they are passionate. Kai! If you come to the work of God, these guys are passionate. What else do they have? You love us. Actually, they love us. But what? Now, do your best in these two. My guy, you can be spiritual and stingy. Birthday gift, you can. There is no record in your file. Every time is you come to eat rice. When you look for the next birthday party, you target when the prayers are finished. That's when you go there. You go there and say, my birthday, and when you do your own birthday, the day you manage to do party and cook, you stretch your eye at everybody. Birthday gift you, birthday gift you, birthday gift you, birthday gift you. There is no record in your file. You see, you just needed somebody to tell you. You have a problem. Thank God you came here today. He says, because I don't have, you will never have. It's not a curse. I'm going to show you what I just said now in the scriptures. It's not me that said you will never have. It's the Bible. I'm going to show you. It's a problem God must deliver you from. Our hands are... See that? Where's that picture? Give me that picture again. But before you give me the picture, let me go read this. He said, do this, do your best in these things too. See, this is something that you can be spiritually insightful, passionate, zealous, Bible reader, Holy Ghost, filled, miracle worker, everything, and be a stingy guy. Jesus Christ. You can preach, but you are stingy. He said, you don't just be good at all these things and miss out on this grace that is upon the churches of Macedonia. So that's why we're doing charging point today. Your hand must leave that state. 2 hands. It's even 1 hand that I thought. It's 2 hands. Do you know what I'm saying? That 2 hands. It's 2 hands like that. And there is nothing inside. Nothing. That's the state. It will remain the way it is. Because there's no hope of change for a tight-fisted hand. Look at the other hand. Things can leave it. Things come back. All right? All right, so it's a grace. Then he said to the churches of Macedonia, to the Corinthian church, the Macedonian church made it clear to us that liberality is a grace and not a response, particularly based on availability of abundance of what you have. You can be poor and be stingy. You can be poor and be liberal. All right? The stinginess of the poor remains hidden under the umbrella of I don't have much. That is the umbrella the poor uses, the stingy uses, the stinginess of the poor. That is the umbrella that they use to hide it. I don't have much. So if you want to make it obvious that a man is stingy, give him more money. Have you seen rich people who are stingy? Jesus Christ. Even on themselves. There have been people that died and they died poor. Only to go and check their account and they saw 20 million. And if you want to buy a way, do this one, I say, how much? It's not supposed to 79. 79. It's 79. It's not 100. And he has 20 million. So it's a disease. So it's a disease. Disease that kills. And some of us have that disease. You can't even buy fish pie. For yourself. For yourself. No. He said, no. I must save it. My guy. One day, your life must change seriously. Because you are the kind of people that make, go to think twice before you give you a wife. Everything is complete. Cha, speaking tongues, everything, papa. Holy Ghost, sexual purity, brother, everything. That's the only reason why you are not yet married. By the Spirit. How much did you buy that tomato? Which market did you go? If you have gone to the other side, you'll have gotten it 10 naira less. So you travel another 20 kilometers to get 10 naira discount. God needs to deliver you. See, it's a problem. When you are working, my guy, my wife came back home one day, and we're trusting God for we needed money to pay some things. And she was complaining that there's not much money. And then I came back home, and I looked at the dustbin, and I saw, even if I don't understand many things, but I saw 2 Cold Stone empty containers that were not there in the morning. So I said, who mistakenly dropped this thing here? Because it must have been a mistake. Because we are talking about money in the morning. So Cold Stone cannot be in this dustbin. So who came to visit us and mistakenly dropped? He said, no, I went to their shop, Domino's Pizza, and I went to buy the thing. I said, you bought Cold Stone? He said, yes. In fact, I bought 2 buckets. I know the children said, no, Daddy, she bought 2. You bought 1 for us and 1 for herself. I thought we need money. She said, my dear, I am working. And I should eat from my labor. It is the gift of God. At least if I die now, it will be a record that I shop small. There are people that saved all through their life and died. You know my rule now? You work, shop small. Save, shop small. Tell your neighbor. Save, shop small. It's part of health. It's part of healthy living. Take yourself out. I was just working. Train. And even train. After some time, I said, you don't wait for somebody to do something to you that you can't do for yourself. You will never do it for yourself, but you want somebody to do it for you, and you can't afford it. We are breaking free this night. Amen. So the Macedonian church, let it be clear to us. Okay, so what informs the confidence of the liberal? The liberal says, cast thy bread. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 1 is scripture we're going to read. And so I have to run. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 1 is the scripture we're going to read. Ecclesiastes 11, what does it say? It says, no. Give it to me in King James Bible. Cast thy bread upon the waters, for thou shalt find it after many days. Now, it's saying cast your bread. Cast is like, how do you say cast? Eh? Is this cast? Eh? How do you say cast? You cannot, you have to be free to cast. You understand what I'm saying? You don't, for me to cast these things means I've detached myself from it. I mean, I've counted it as something I can do away with. Are you understanding? So he said, treat your bread like that. Your bread should be what you will have eaten. Are you getting what I'm saying? He said, but even when you eat, at least don't take part of that bread and do what? Be free to cast it upon the waters. Why is he saying that? He said, because after many days, nothing spoil, you will still have it. So when you see people who are liberal, and their liberal shows in the fact that they are effortlessly, these are people that when they give you food, they are not, there are some people when they give you food, there's a rope tied to that food. Do you understand what I'm saying? It even has a reference number. In the next 3 months, he can quote it. Reference number 1099 2019. You were in my house. You ate jollof rice, and I gave you 1.5 pieces of meat. You ate. It has reference number. Be careful to eat food that has reference number. Reference number kind of food, that is not from the heart. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's given, but it's not freely given. There's a big difference. Now, it says, cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you'll find it. Now, the guy that is liberal has something going on at the back of his head that if it is not going on at the back of your head, you can't do what he does. You can't do what he does if what is going on in his mind is not going on in your mind. If you don't have... Now, look at later in the scripture in 2 Corinthians chapter 8, he said, for you know the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, because he was having this same mind, that even though he was rich, he became poor for your sakes. In other words, Jesus had all the wealth, but he casted it upon the waters, knowing that he will have more sons in return from what he's giving out. Are you getting what I'm saying? So the liberal person, the reason why he's able to be liberal, one of those first reasons is that he believes he's coming back. He doesn't struggle to give because he knows that as long as I'm casting this thing upon the waters. Now, there's a difference. Don't cast your bread upon the sand. There's a difference between waters and sand. Very easy now, you can understand. If you go to bar beach and cast your shirt on the bar beach, what would the bar beach do? It will take it. But if you still want to see your shirt, what do you do? Just wait. What will happen to the Bible? It will bring back your shirt and other things. Do you understand what I'm saying? So he said, cast your bread upon the moving waters. In other words, you don't just get liberal carelessly. He says, whenever you see, and waters represents a stirring of the spirit. whenever you see a moving of the Holy Ghost to give something, it says, feel free. Don't think. Recast it. Don't worry. What do you say? He said, you will find it. It will come back. You see, liberal people don't struggle to give because they understand that whatever I give, it will do what? It will come back. He's confident. He's sure about it. He knows what he's saying. His heart is very clear about it. He's not struggling. Are you getting what I'm saying? So he can even add more. He knows that whatever. You see, this guy has only 2,000 naira left in his pocket. And he has already spent 1,500, he remains 500. And somebody is saying, I need 300 here. And he says, he carries that 500 naira, gives the guy 300 naira, and says, but you have transport fare. You don't have transport fare. Okay, I need 100 naira to get home. You take 100 naira with it to get to us. He said, what guy? The stingy guy beside him, that's why he must not marry a stingy woman. The stingy guy beside him, he goes, stop, that is all you have to say. It will come back. The guy is doing it freely because his heart has been rooted in an understanding that since this thing is a function of the moving of the waters here, I feel this is the Holy Ghost here. If the Holy Ghost takes the last time on my hand, then my guy, I know this thing. He will bring it back, but he will not bring it back the way he took it. How will he bring it back? Luke chapter 6. Luke chapter 6, verse 38. What does it say there? King James Bible, please. This is not all right. Everybody read. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the men measure with which you meet, shall we be measured to you again. So the liberal person understands that if you give. Now, the giving that they're talking about in this scripture is not giving to God. Somebody says, it's giving to God. That's what we use to collect offering every time we want to collect offering. Excuse me, sir. It's not giving to God. Let's read the Bible. Luke chapter 6, read verse 36, 35, 34, and know what they're talking about there. Look at it there. If you start from the whole of Luke chapter 6, you will discover that Jesus is talking about interpersonal relationships. He's talking about what you do to people, what people do to you. That same chapter, you look, verse 31 says, whatever you want people to do to you, do to them. It's the same line as give. You understand what I'm saying? It's an interpersonal relationship. So this scripture is not tied to being born again. In other words, it is a principle that even if Boko Haram member applies, it will get the result that... You understand what I'm talking about now? It's not a principle, a born-again principle. It's a law, a global... Jesus didn't say, if you are a Christian, if you give, it should be given unto you. No. When people do Sahara, do you know the principle of Sahara? Is what is this principle? And some other principles. That it comes back to you in many ways. Actually, Sahara, I don't want to just change my message today, so let me not go that way. Because when they tell you to be liberal, the liberal person is one of the first things you are getting to yourself. My brother, there's a currency that you need to be aware of that is different from naira, pounds, and dollars. It's a currency called goodwill. The Yorubas call it iyonu. I don't know whether you understand anything I'm saying. It means that there is something about... Stand up, sir. Bosses, stand up. It means there's something about the fact that I do good to you I do good to you, you didn't do anything to me, right? You didn't give me back anything, right? But your heart, your spirit is sending some magnetic waves of favor to my life. That magnetic wave of favor is coming from... See, sometimes people don't even need to pray for you when you bless them, because the prayer of their spirit... Is anybody understanding me? That you do some things to your mother and she can't talk. She's... The infrared that is beaming from her spirit is even more than her mouth. So she's beaming a wave of magnetic fields of favor around me. If you play Subway Surfer, how many people play Subway Surfer here on? So you people still play Subway Surfer. Let me see your hand if you play Subway Surfer. All right. Do you know that when you are running, there is this magnet that you catch? It will do as if you are not holding anything. But all the coins that you are supposed to be, you will have needed to move to pick the coin. But when you are carrying that magnet, the coins will be coming to wherever you are as you are going. What you get by having a liberal soul is that favor magnet. Things you will have needed to go and pick will be coming to wherever you are to locate you. You will be the location for their location. So when that woman blesses you, it looks as if she didn't give you money. But she gave you a magnet for what the currency that you were. You understand what I'm talking about now? Whether it is husband, whether it is anything, whether it is job, whether it is money, she didn't give you anything, but she gave you the magnet. So you leave her. And actually what you are looking for, what you need, let me put it this way, what you need is a gray bag. But you just gave this, and then his spirit blessed you. So now here I'm going. And I get to this place. And then she just sees me and she feels like giving me this gray bag. And I tell me, I just feel like giving it's drama. Don't. Is it bad like that? Hey. Don't let me ask you whether you are from that place. So. All right. It just feels like giving me. It just feels like say it now. Say I just feel like it. Now she didn't know what happened here. But I carried the magnetic field around where what I needed is. And what I needed, the thing was pulling it from the hand of the owner. See, that's how we get favor. That's how we get things. That's how transaction happens. Some of us, I may not have cash in my pocket now, but I carry the magnetic field. Jesus wasn't carrying money, but he carried the magnet. Even in the river, waiting Jesus carry, we pick gold. Now, you bless some people and they put on you from their spirit the magnetic field to attract your husband. Have you seen some men get at... See, no matter how ugly you think you look, how old you think you are, or how bad your case is, or deformed, and somehow you look at everybody is working. Before me, I will get husband. All these space girls, they would have gotten the husband. Me, before it's not my fault. If not for that terrible Toyota driver, I came to break my leg. Now to get husband now. You only need a magnetic field of favor. Have you seen men who will see everybody else and they will say, my spirit has never left this girl. They say, but she's blind. I say, I don't care. I also thought that she's blind. I tried to pull my spirit away. My spirit cannot move. What about all the fine girls? I pulled my spirit to them, it didn't glue. This one, even when I disowned her, Even when I said I'm not going to think about her again, my mind, my soul, my intestine followed. Liver even follow. Before I die, I better follow. A guy said, went to Mrs. Achidumé and said, I finally found the woman I will marry. He was happy. You know why? There are this set of brothers in church. I don't know why there's somebody I'm speaking to here this afternoon. There are this set of brothers in church that everybody knows they are complete. Yeah? Money, they have. Spirit, they have. Zeal. Many people that have money don't have spirit. The one that has spirit don't have money. So, the one that has spirit, his sisters, you know what I'm talking about? The one that has spirit has money, has car, and the car has AC. And he lives in an estate. And his English is good. He dresses well. And he worships. You know those kind of worship? Lord, I worship you. Lord, I give you praise in the house. Lord, I thank you for all you've done to me. Lord, I bless you. And everything is clean. And all the sisters trust God that he will see them. And the guy is doing his 30th birthday, 32nd birthday, 34th birthday. He's not married. Some people even go and say, oh, are you thinking about marriage? He said, no, I'm not thinking about marriage yet. The Lord has not spoken. I just thought that maybe it's all right. And he finds sisters beautiful. Suddenly the guy said, I found the person. Who is this person? He said, the Lord spoke to me finally. And it's that sister Sarah. I said, which one? That one that is in the protocol. He said, no, I don't understand. I mean, the other one. He said, she was sad. Why was she sad? Because she felt the guy didn't know the lady. The lady has already, she had 2 children out of wedlock. She, maybe for 2 different, it's a bad case. 2 children for 2 different fathers. It's like, you have had 5 husbands and the one you have now is not your husband. So fathers. And she was already over 30. She was 34 or something, 35. She was even old, plus old join. And she was not really like Sister Clara. You understand what I'm saying? And someone said, why? I'm praying for sister, but too, she's praying for that old sister too, but she's like, it's not your time. We are trusting God for maybe one widow, that, you get how your case will be bad, that you will judge the best God you think God can give you. Tap your neighbor, say, God is not like you. Yeah, because you have now a single mother, you have 3 children, you are even 36. Let's just trust God for one of his children that his wife has died. No. He's not a man. In that thing that they exalted themselves, God offered you one law. Do you understand what I'm talking about here? That brother said, that's what he said. He said, go and pray. Come back. The guy went to pray, came. I said, Mama, that's still the person. She told us that she now told the guy, I shouldn't tell you this, but I need to tell you. She's a single mother. She has 2 kids out of wedlock already. Those kids are not small kids. And she's also not too young. That's why I said you should go and pray. I know that I'm sorry to... The guy said, is that all? Said that if I don't marry her, I won't marry. And he went to go and propose. She said, love. It's not love. Because you are trying to attract with your physical futures. Somebody is using grace. This thing is not breast. It's grace. Grace. Not grease. Grace. Grace. If you will not use grace to marry, you must use grace. You must use breasts. And please, don't cover it. No, so that you have more chances. I'm telling you. I'm just trying to help you. If you will not use grace, you must use your body. If you will not use your body, then you must use grace. Not to use your body and not to have grace, you are almost miserable. That's what the Bible says. Your case is bad. You must subscribe to one channel. Either you subscribe to the body, to the natural, to the physical, or you subscribe to the spiritual. Husband must come from one of the two channels. But we know that that which comes from the natural is temporary. But that which is not seen. The Bible says it has eternal value. The energy with which it sustains itself is coded. Is from God. Are you getting what I'm talking about now? Then don't try to subscribe to one. I tell you, if I'm a lady, thank you, God bless you. If I'm a lady here, I'm under pressure. You see, you cannot beat those people who have already made up their mind. It's either body gets me a husband or I am husbandless. You can't beat them. They do everything. But use grace. Listen, even if you are beautiful, use grace. Even if you are beautiful, don't put your confidence on that beauty. Use grace. Tap your neighbor, say, use grace. Grace. That is what should attract you to me. It's not my fair skin. What should attract you to me is a spiritual entity that is beyond the physical. Because you can get the physical any other place. It doesn't have to be me. And if you think you're the only one that is fair, let me take you to Cross River, where fear is normal. Even you will see fear. You will fear. You will see fear, you will fear. Let's go. All those Nathanael people, you will see fear, you will fear. Naturally yellow. Without cream. It is not. Don't put your confidence in the flesh. Don't stand in front of the mirror and just forget about that. And you know you will make you. What are you leaking? Don't do that. One of the first things you must check if any guy comes to you is, what did you see? Or you bend down, you wanted to pick barrel, and the guy said, the Lord has spoken. The Lord did not speak. What did you see? What did you see? What is dragging you to me? What is pulling you? What is making you come to me? What is making you ask for my phone number? What did you see? What is pulling you? Say, man, I can't gather myself. You're so beautiful. As I said, what you saw is not me. What you saw is my container. You've not even seen me. I've seen beautiful, terrible women. Wait till they speak. You will forget what you saw. Fine girls. What are you doing? That is powder. That is grounded pepper in picnic container. Praise God. I'm not talking about marriage. I don't know what's happening to you in this church today. Somebody's spirit is pulling some things from me. I am talking about liberality. Proverbs 11, verse 24 to 26. What does it say? Proverbs 11, 24 to 26. Somebody wants to get married here. God is teaching you. Settle down. Settle down. Don't use sexiness. It's a bad currency. It will give you that type. That type of men. Do you understand what I'm saying? Men that can say, I can't do, when I see you, I can't just control myself. He will also not control himself when he sees your types. Because, you see, okay, liberality. Proverbs 11:24-26. There is that scattereth and yet increaseth. There is that withholdeth more than is meet and intended to. So when I say you will never have, you see what I'm talking about here? There are two dimensions of people. There's a category of people that live by this operating system of scattering and increasing. There's another operating system of withholding more than is meet and continuing being poor. What I discovered that the sea does not know how much water you took from it. It is the container, it is you and your container that you took there that knows. The sea will replace whatever you took from it without. Do you understand what I'm talking about here? You either have a sea mentality or you have a cup container mentality. I discovered that when I was giving people honorariums of 5,000, 10,000, God provided for it. When I needed to give people honorariums of 100,000, God provided for it. So, what I discovered is that it is my capacity, my thinking, it is not the resources. God doesn't lack resources. It's an ocean of resources. It is the capacity of the faith you will take to the ocean that determines what you get from it. If you take a tank, you will take the tank full and the water will not know you took anything. God will never say, no, he will never. He doesn't lack it. But your heart. See, if you have 10 million naira now, it still doesn't mean you can give somebody a car. You may not have the heart. Okay, two people are not rich. Two people are students. They are both in the University of Ibadan. And they are standing side by side like this. And one person looks at some people struggling under the bridge. And look at some people struggling with accommodation issues. And one person says, if I have money, child, if I really have money, I will build houses all through these places. And I will allow people to be living in them. I will just tell them to pay whatever they need to. So I can build out all this money that these people are saying they are still 1 billion to me. If I have, I will just give Julius Berger. Be build. Whenever I send somebody to let him have it. Let them say every core member serving in Ibadan, because of the accommodation problem I faced, can have 6 months, at least 6 months free housing in one of my houses. They will live there 6 months free of charge. And then they can balance and do that. If I have money. Another person saying, look at these people that have problem. If I have money, car, I will invest in, I will go, my bolo, my car, I will build, look how much I'm going to make. I will just multiply that 1 billion by another 10. He doesn't have money. Do you see heart? Now, which one of them do you think God will be interested to give money? The Bible talks about distributing to the necessities of the saints. You come to church, there is somebody you can give to. There's something in your house. Mama say, no, I don't have much. That much, that's your don't have, is something. Look at people. No, somebody greets you, you look at his belt, and you see that the belt has torn. You don't need to say anything. Go to where they sell belts. Buy it. Come to church next Sunday and say, bro, I just said I should give you this. You and him understand. The guy comes to church the next Sunday after that wearing that brand new piece of belt and is looking good. You don't have to shout. Live that kind of life. Please let me beg your neighbor, start living that kind of a life. No, some of these things are not expensive. You are inside taxi. The taxi driver said it's 79. I said, "Egba 50." He said 79. Egba 50, 79. And you put your face front. And he was saying, 79, Egba 50, Egba 50, Egba 50. You say, hey, you know, they got 50, 17 year butter, and the person left the taxi because he didn't have the extra 20 naira. And you are there, and he said, hey, no, let me wait. I mean, it's not, don't tell me it's not your business. It is not that you don't have, it is your heart. Your heart is hard. Say, if you don't know how to carry your money, you to pay for everything. Your heart, that kind of heart can be very passionate, insightful, spiritual, but Abba, this one too. You don't know that it opens you up to some spiritual, angelic provisions. You send angels to fill your... Now, you're going to read it now. Proverbs 11:20. There is that scattered and yet increased. There is that withholdeth more than is meat, but tended to power. Read it. What does it say? It says, the liberal soul, read it, shall be made fat. Do you know why? Because the guy is distributing. And he that watereth, it is a law. Tell your neighbor, say it is a law. That the liberal soul shall be made fat. You know why he must be made fat? Because if he continues to be liberal, no, feel free to say it. If he continues to be liberal and you don't make him fat, he will die. His liberality will kill him. You understand what I'm talking about now? Pipes that carry major distributing supplies, that other pipes linked to those pipes are not the same size as the pipes that receive from them. They say, no, this is not, let's use 5 diamonds. They say, no, you can't use 5 diamonds. Say, why? It's a major trunk. It's a kind of a believer that supplies several others. So you have to increase his size. You can't give him this kind of job. You have to give him a job like share to sustain his liberality. Do you get what I'm talking about? It is not the job that will inform his liberality. No, it is his liberality that will inform the job. One day I caught myself saying, do you know, as a pastor, I'm telling you as a pastor, I pray some prayers that are looking dangerous. But I tell God when I'm talking about something, I say, God, this guy, if you are looking for the people, if you give me slots of the people that you want to bless through my mouth, I use my slot for this guy. Because this one, for sure. That if you bless, there are some others, it's not sure. In fact, they may not even come back. But this guy, if you bless this guy through my mouth, it's sure for me. This guy is, even without you doing it, no, bless this guy. See, your liberality is what will inform your fatness. Not your fatness inform your liberality. You thought that it is when you have that you will give. It in the kingdom, it is when you give that you have. Because God will make sure you have to keep giving. Your heart informs your supply. Did you see it? He that waters must be watered. It's a law. Say, muzzle not the ox that treasured the corn. Praise God. All right, so we have to move forward. So there's this distributor mindset. If you look at Romans 12:13, it says, distributing to the necessity of the saints, giving to hospitality. In other words, you are so giving. You can have a heart. You can start it by trying to make sure that people get something. If you just look back at the past 2-3 months or 1 month or 2 months and say, how many people have gotten anything from me? Do you know I have a policy that if you are around me, you must eat from me? I learned that policy. I don't know which message I listened to, but it changed my life. Just like you are coming to this meeting tonight, somebody also spoke to me at one point in time in my life, and I chose to. Anybody that blesses me, I must bless. I just have that policy. I took on that policy as a starting point. I remember one day I was just in family house. I served in Katsina, Katsina State, 2004. And I was there, and after some time, I just saw that our Papa has been such a blessing. And then I just look and say, this guy, has he eaten anything from me? Has he taken anything from me? I said, no. So I started looking. And if you are looking for opportunity, God will give you. Some of those opportunities don't have to be expensive. It just have to be spirit-led on the waters. You remember what it says? Cast it on where? On the waters. As the Spirit leads. As many as are led by the Spirit, these are the sons of God. So one day the Papa just came and said, Kai, I need toothpaste. Yeah! Immediately I heard toothpaste. Before anybody refers me, I ran inside. I went to carry my toothpaste. I said, Papa, you've been a blessing too. This toothpaste, take it. He said, I said, yes, take it. Let something also leave me to you. When I was working in my office, in the years I was working, it is a policy. Everybody in this office, they bring a new staff, a security guard, cleaner. And they come and say, you, have I ever given you anything before? And they say, oh God, you have never given me anything since I've been working here. I say, take this 100 naira, buy Coke. What of you? Say, oh God, me, you have given me some, it's all right. It becomes, what you didn't know is that part of my security system in that office is that everybody you have chopped from me. The day you open your mouth and say, yeah, one angel with 20 hands will come in the form of the kokoro that I gave you. You know that spiral-headed kokoro? And kokoro your head. And say, hey! And you chop kokoro. In other words, people don't understand. One day I was studying this thing, and I looked at the fact that Jezebel killed Naboth successfully. She planned a coup amongst a whole community, and nobody could leak the secret to Naboth. I can check Naboth. He was a man standing for righteousness. I will not sell my father's vineyard. No, but even if you are the king, I will not sell it to evil. Yes, he was standing on righteousness, but he didn't have this grace. Probably. At least, they wanted to keep her too. You don't know? People vowed, 40 people vowed that they will not eat until this kind of killing is a serious killing. Thank God for one small boy. He was the cousin of Paul. And it's not just because his cousin. Probably he used to give him chocolate. If not, who Paul help? When he doesn't die, what is the advantage? When he has died, plus living, plus dead, some people are around you, plus your life, plus your death, you mean nothing to them. You have no value. Who Paul help? The guy just told us, he heard them talk about it. He was that guy that ran, said, I want to see that prisoner. I said, okay, let him. He saw, he said, Paul, they want to kill you. Paul said, go to that and tell him to take you to the captain. They took it and said, I heard it. These 40 people are bound. They say, we are waiting for him on that road. And he was to travel there the next day. They changed the route. I don't know whether those people just fasted to death because they didn't kill Paul. But they weren't able to kill Paul. They had a plan that was sealed. They were sure about it. One boy escaped. Your liberality will save your life. Sometimes in that office that you are working, you are the only one saying, I'm a born again. I don't know. People, whereas your counterparts who are unbelievers go to beer parlor and say, serve round. They have better chances at survival than you. Do you understand what I'm talking about now? Do you understand? So when you go to beer parlor and have serve round, they know what they are doing. These principles are not born again principles. They are principles that work irrespective of who practices them. It's a global law. The liberal soul shall be made fat. Somebody went to my Kadenuga's office, my church people. They sought an appointment and they have been looking. They say, okay, come Friday. And I think they didn't even meet him. But they met the appointment. And as they got to the office, they gave a call. They said that, Oga, you gave these people appointment, they are here today, and they are here on time. I said, all right. Tell them this. And they gave all the details that they were looking for. And then so they were very, I said, thank you, sir, thank you. I said, tell Oga, thank you. They came to look for a favor, and they got it. And as they were going, the PA said, wait. Nobody comes here and goes without a signature that you entered here. He handed over 2 envelopes to them, said, this is from Oga for visiting him. Said they got outside, they said, oh, thank you. They got outside, they thought it was change. They opened the envelope, they saw 500,000. What came to me and said, let us visit again. But it was such that you don't enter into the presence of royalty. And the air of that royalty doesn't go. What that guy is doing is coming back to him. Because as your spirit did, goodwill. Any day, somebody stand up and say, Mike Adenuga is a useless man. Say, Kodeba Tonye. I can see it, but it's the way we are looking at it. You see, those guys know what they are doing. But you carry big Bible. Holy Ghost. My guy, you are not safe. You have neighbors that have not benefited anything from your life. Whereas, the guy on the 3rd street, Christmas Day, he does Sarah. Carries goodwill from the whole community. His business is increasing. He's a Muslim. You are still there. Holy God! Holy God! Can't you see me? I'm seeing you. And I saw your hand. It's closed. I see you and your hand like this. Deliverance is coming to somebody here today. So let's go to the laws of scriptural giving. So how do you give in scriptures? What do we give? We give ourselves. We give our resources. We give our money. We give our service. The Bible says God is not righteous to forget your work or labor of love, which shall show towards his name. We give our time. The Bible says that Luke 2:37 said, and Anna, she was a widow of our 4 and 4 years, which departed not from the temple, but served God with fastings and prayers night and day. She lived her entire life serving God with her time, her lifetime. All right, so we give resources, we give ourselves, both to God and man. All right, and if you look at 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 5 of where we started reading, 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 5, what does it say? 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 5, what does it say? Verse 5. Just give it to me, verse 5. Read it, let me see. What does it say? It said this was totally spontaneous, entirely their own idea, and caught us completely off guard. And this they did, not as we hoped, but first gave their own selves to the Lord. In other words, they first gave their own selves to the Lord and unto us. So they didn't just give themselves to the Lord, they also gave themselves to do what? To us. Paul said they gave themselves to us. These Macedonian people, they did not just give themselves to the Lord, they gave themselves, because they didn't have money, so they gave themselves. Why? If church is, even if this ministry has this kind of people, it will move forward. Giving yourself. And I keep saying it, even when we have to come here every third Sunday, that some of us need to take it or take responsibility for what God is doing here. We have been blessed, as in some people need to come up. You see, thank God the choir are still 4. The protocol guys are still, but we need the hands and people that give for these meetings to run and all that. So they gave themselves first to the Lord. Now, who did they first give themselves to? Now, I'll tell you this. terrible thing to collect things from people that God has not collected. You didn't hear me. It's a terrible thing to collect things from people whose life God has not collected. So before you give things, God must collect you, the giver, yourself, first. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why Elijah did not collect anything from Naaman. He wanted God to take Naaman before he would have access to the things of Naaman. But Gehazi didn't understand. It's a terrible thing in ministry when you are taking things from people that God has not taken. Somebody God is fighting with, you are collecting special offering from her hand. You don't know that when you collect that special offering, you are buying her conscience to God, to give it to. You understand what I'm saying? She's selling her conscience. She's selling her conscience with that gift for you. I shared the testimony of my pastor, somebody in the church, that he was saying the guy used to carry. I hope you know we have brethren in church now that carry girls. Eh? Yeah? Huh? You know? So the pastor saw him that used to carry girls and said, "Stop that thing you are doing. It's unrighteous, it's ungodly." He said, "Pastor, he said, I bet. So one day, pastor's car spoiled. This guy went to go and buy grade 1 nice Tokumbo car. I said, "Pastor, manage this." I hope you know it's very tempting. No car. Pastor is taking taxi. No car. And then they gave him this grade 1 Tokumbo, nice car, clean car. I said, "Look, it's all right. Pastor, take it." And pastor said, "Keep that car in your garage. Stop chasing girls." If he had collected that car, how will he preach? With that chance. Pastor, okay. It's all right. That's why some people can't say no. You know this guy that proposed to you, he's not a child of Abraham. But you have shop mango. You want to say no? I'm still praying. It's chicken, cold stone, and different kind of Kellogg's pizza. The no, the end, has gone. Don't collect proposals from people that God has not collected. They give themselves first to the Lord, all right? And then there are things. To who do we give? We give, you remember the laws of the harvest? Deuteronomy 14:27-29. Chai, I need to run. Deuteronomy 14:27-29. What does it say? "And the Levite that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him." You give your Levites. "He hath no part or inheritance with thee. At the end of 3 years thou shalt bring forth all the tithes of thine increase the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates. And the Levite, because he hath no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger," number 2, the stranger. Number 3, the fatherless. Number 4, the widow. "That which are within thy gates shall come and shall eat and be satisfied of your harvest, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thy hand which thou doest." In other words, God is looking at several people who he believes should have access to your harvest. A widow. Some of us here, a widow has never eaten from your hand. Either in terms of money, service, time. Do you understand? So it's not just money. Money, service, time, resources. You understand what I'm saying? Matches. My wife taught me you could give things. Sometimes in Christmas periods, we'll buy carton of matches. You know those big ones, those big matches, like 100 naira. I don't know how much is it. Those big matches, not this one. Those big matches that you can use for 1 month or 2 months. Some people can even use it for 1 semester, depending on, because they don't really cook. So those big matches. You can't buy matches. Do you imagine on your bad day, just buy 1 carton of matches, you may not spend 1.5. And come to church and say, sister, do you know the prayer they will pray for you? It will be more than matches. Do you understand what I'm saying? But some people will say, it may be the need. Do you know match? How many people have ever seriously needed matches in this place before? You will look for 1 strand of matches that fell down under the gas cooker. You will not see. You will say the one that mistakenly fell down 3 weeks ago. When you will sweep, just to find one you did not see. At 12 midnight, when you can't wake up your neighbor. And then somebody comes to church and just gives you that one man. Do you know, even in your house, when you are doing chara, you say, Kai, God bless sister. God bless. It is not because we don't have that we don't give. It is because we don't have a heart. Am I talking about giving to God now? What am I talking about? Giving to others. So say the pastor, the fatherless, the widows, can give recharge card. 100 naira, just transfer it. It's something. You need to know that these things affect your life. If the only person you give to is the girl you like, Abba. Remember that scripture? John chapter 11 verse 1. Now, Jesus loved Martha, Mary, and her brother Lazarus. The Bible did not say Jesus loved Martha. If he stopped there, it would be confusion. He said, love Martha, Mary, and love Lazarus, a man. None does love woman, love man. Love man and woman, brethren. If all the people you love are sisters, you have problem. You're not like Jesus. The only person you have ever bought pizza for in your life, your spirit does not lead you to buy pizza for Brother Marcus. There's something wrong with you. You don't have the love of Christ. You have the love of Cecilia. You don't have the love of Christ. You must be able to do things for your fellow sister, not just a brother that you are eyeing. You must be able to do something for a fellow brother. Brothers should help brothers. Not just you are not only, your spirit doesn't rouse when you see a fellow sister. Abba, the love of Christ. Amen. It is God that brought you. Nehemiah chapter 13 verse 10 talks about a situation where the Levites, nobody was bringing the portion of that belongs to them of their harvest. So the Levites left the temple and went to go and start farming. Because people that God called to missions, full missions. I was talking about this on Sunday, and I said 2 couples, the couple here, the husband and wife, they are chasing secondary school students all around the place. That's all they are doing for their life, husband and wife. How will they eat? God has put it in the heart of some people that out of their harvest they will be sustained because they needed them to concentrate on that one. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's an equality in the system, in the kingdom. There is a system of, your harvest. And I hope you know that these things, when you throw them in the waters, it comes back to you. How? Good measure and running over. The same way you do your plates when they are serving you beans. So that you will not have a false estimate of what you collected. Amen. Many people are shaking beans plates before you. They are pouring it. You are shaking it. And say, but our pour plates here. It's going around. Praise God. Good measure. Press down. Shake it together. What have you thrown in the water today and yesterday that you are expecting to get back when you are 65? After many days. Did you not read after many days? There are some after many days that I'm eating today. There are some after many days that I'll be eating tomorrow. There are some after many days that I'll be eating at 75 if Jesus tarries. Do you understand what I'm saying? So since I am expecting a harvest in the time when I will not be able to plant, I need to start. You understand what I'm saying? My father was not that pastoral, but he was liberal. My father was liberal. He was not that pastor. He was not that born again, but my father was liberal. My father was a son. And he will do cases for people that don't have money. And he will tell his lawyers, represent this guy in court, to fight the case, make sure you win the case. And if the guy doesn't have money, my father will say, let him go. The lawyers will be mad. They say, this other man that we helped the other time, you said that he will help us. He did not help us at all. We needed fuel. He went to his petrol station. He said there was no fuel. And we did this case. You are saying that we should. I remember one day somebody complained to them. I was there. My father said, come. What I told you was that whatever you give will come back. I didn't tell you it will come back through the hand of the person you gave. One thing is certain, it will come back. If it doesn't come directly to you, it will come to your children. But come back, it will come back. Nothing you drop on the waters goes. Tell your neighbor, nothing you drop on the waters goes without coming back. So what are the laws that he gave us for giving? Wow. He said, first and foremost, we're going to use the few laws of scriptural giving. Number one is private. It's a private affair. Giving is a private affair. Matthew 6 verse 1 to 4. Take heed that you do not your house before men to be seen of them, otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore when thou doest thy harms, do not sound the trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, what? They have their reward. But when thou doest harms, what? Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thy hands may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. These days, when people do things, they go and carry camera. Because they feel that they must know. People must know. And watch when you do things and you always want other people to know that you did things to somebody. You understand what I'm saying? But I care. God says you have your reward. That kind of thing, it has already come back that day. But Eshe, that's all. What came back to you is Eshe. Said they have their reward. Said no. Don't do that. Don't go and help children and then you are so eager to carry the camera so that everybody will see on Facebook that you help them. See, be careful of all this publicity. We need to follow scriptures back. He said it's a private affair. Giving has always been a private affair. Do you wonder when Jesus does a miracle, tells the person, don't tell anybody? Have you not seen it in the Bible? Have you ever wondered why should he say that kind of a thing? He should put it on the newspaper. With simplicity. Romans 12:8. Or he that exhorted or exhortation, he that giveth with simplicity. He that ruleth with diligence, he that showeth mercy with cheerfulness. He that giveth, give simple. Simplicity. Don't give an essay before you give. Give it with simplicity. Now, this giving we are talking about is both to God and to man. Okay, now let's look at a major principle here. That's number 2. Private affair, number 1. Simplicity, number 2. A major principle here. First, giving yourself to the Lord. We have talked about that in 2 Corinthians 8, verse 5. That they first gave themselves. Before you give things, give yourself to the Lord. That's principle number 3. Then, God must accept you before your offering. If you read Malachi chapter 1, verse 9 to 10, it says, and now I pray you, beseech God that he will be gracious unto us. This hath been by your means. Will he regard your persons? Said the Lord of hosts. Who is there even among you that will shut the doors for naught? Neither do ye kindle fire on my altar for naught. Now, everybody read the last part of that scripture, verse 10, last part. I have no pleasure in you, said the Lord of hosts. Neither will I accept an offering at your hand. So if you are doing what God does not like, stop bothering yourself bringing things. He will not accept it. Go and do Yahoo business and give God 500,000. He will not accept it. He will stay in the church will accept it too. But he will not accept it. I'm telling you the truth. God will not accept it. You are only deceiving yourself. Don't go and meet one guy that you know that is not the will of God for your life and is taking you out because he has money, driving on a nice car, sleeping with you, and giving you chicken chain, giving you 20,000. And you say, God, just manage the money so we share it. You give God 5,000 out of 20,000 so that God will keep quiet. You are not serious. He will not accept it. Please let me squeeze your face to your neighbor and say, he will not accept it. If you think SOV, don't bring that kind of money to SOV. Don't bring it. Please don't spoil our ministry. Spend your 20,000. Shop pizza. Shop your head with it. Don't bring it here. Don't bring it here. Amen. He will not accept it. Amen. He will not accept it. Spend your money yourself. Your blood money. Bible says, do not bring the earnings of a war into the temple. It's an abomination. It's in the Bible. Don't bring money of prostitution. Somebody carried a prostitute in 5 a.m. in the morning. He was going. And the Lord led him to her. And he picked her and said, I wanted to reach out to her. And he said, can you just give me 5 minutes to talk to you? And the lady said, do fast. And then he was only do fast. What happened? He said, because I'm the one leading worship in churches. And I have to go and change. He has to change from the prostitute clothes. What you are giving God must be valuable, not worthless. I'm going to show you something. Malachi 1:13-14. That's same Malachi, verse 13 to 14. What does it say? He said also, behold, what a weariness is it? And ye have snuffed at it, said the Lord of hosts. Ye brought which was torn, and the lame, and the sick, that thus ye brought an offering. Should I accept it at your hand? Saith the Lord. Read verse 14. What does it say? But cursed be the deceiver which hath in a flock a male, and vowed and sacrificed unto the Lord a corrupting. In other words, when you are giving God something, He looks at your flock. He looks at what you have. And you understand what I'm saying? He values what you are giving Him based on what you have. And that takes us to the next principle. Whatever you are given to God is accepted based on what you have. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 11 to 12. We are going to run. I want to make sure I finish this so that we'll finish the service. And 2 Corinthians 8, 11 to 12. What does it say? Now, therefore, perform the doing of it, that as there was a readiness to will, so there must be a performance also out of that which ye have. When you are giving God or giving persons things, don't give what you don't have. My wife taught me something. Stop promising things you have not yet given. It puts you in bondage. Rather keep quiet and give it. Some things don't need announcement. Don't worry, I will give you 5,000. And you don't have the 5,000 yet. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's better you keep quiet. When you bring the 5,000, say, take. Do you need to announce again? You understand? It's easier that way. All right, so it's out of what which you have. Don't borrow money to give God. Don't come to church and make vows that you don't have. Don't say by faith. God is not begging. You don't understand what I'm talking about here. Say, God, I'm going to give you 1 million. And then you vow. And you know you don't have 100. And you say, by faith, okay, where you have the money, give what you have. Give out of that which you have. I don't know whether I can say this. You understand? So I know some people are plugged with God in these dimensions. You can make a vow based on something that said, Lord, if you give me this, I'll give you this. That one's different. But don't borrow to give God. Don't feel bad like you don't have. Give out of that which you have. It is accepted according to that which a man has. That is the Bible. Out of that which you have. And it's clear in the scriptures. Now, there's another principle. That's number what? You must understand Romans 11:35 and 36. 35. Romans 11:35. Let me read Romans 11:35. You must understand that clearly whenever you're talking about giving to God. Everybody read. Or who at first given to him, and it shall be recompensed. In other words, nobody first gives to God. Give me. Anything you are giving to God, He first gave you. The Bible says, what have you had that you have not received? There is nothing that you will give God. And I say, God, you know I'm just giving you this. You have never seen it before in your life. I'm just giving. He is the one that gave you. There is not even your life. We want I give myself away. That yourself. Who gave you? Anything you are giving God, you are even a criminal if you don't give Him. Because God, this is my 5,000. Who brought the 5,000 to you? There is nothing God takes from you. Do you know? Let me just kill it this way. God was going to ask the children of Israel to give him gold to build the temple. When they were leaving Egypt, he told them that collect gold. But they didn't know. He was going to come back and say, give me gold. So now imagine after they didn't work for, they didn't do anything. They just were saying, just take it. They were just, they were well packing gold. Say, this God is too good. This God is, the pack say, I want that silver. Say, take it. I want that gold and take it. I will worship you forever. See, gold. And then God came and said, I want to build a temple. Anybody that wants to give me can give me gold. And God said to Moses, said don't force them. Let anyone that is willing. What does God want to eat? He's looking. He could have said, remember, I'm the one that gave you the gold. Give me back my gold now. He said, if you want to give me, if it comes from your heart to give me. Then say, God, I can't give you this one. This gold. Who gave you? That job, that salary, who gave you? Do you understand? You must first know that everything you are giving to God or to human beings is based on the direction of the Holy Ghost. If God says give somebody a suit, who gave you the suit? That shows you that He can give you another one, a better one. Do you understand what I'm saying? So don't be. All right. Have we done that? Okay, so it's not what must be from a willing mind. Exodus 25:2 shows that it must be from a willing mind. What does it say? Speak unto the children of Israel that they bring me an offering of every man that giveth it willingly with his heart. Ye shall take my offering. So God was concerned about how they gave it. Not just that they gave it. God was concerned. And we're going to look at a scripture that's going to show us all the other principles. 2 Corinthians 9 verse 7. And then we'll round up this meeting. 2 Corinthians 9 verse 7. Will show us all the other principles. 2 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 7. Everybody read it out loud from your Bible. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give. Now listen. That means that whatever you give is what you purposed in your heart. That's what the problem is with most of these meetings that say $10,000, $5,000, $5,000. I went to a church in Akwa Ibom, and that pastor is just shouting all over the place now. He said some churches are some. I mean, I was there. I went to that church. I heard word. I was happy. When they say offering time, I brought out my 500 naira that was in my pocket. I brought that. I said, I'm going to give this offering. I will enjoy this church today. I will give my 500 naira. And I said, I love you. So what happened? He said 10,000 and above first. You know, when I had 10,000 and above, I calculated when it will reach me. I was like, Mark, by you. This is how I open my mouth. God is by category, you know. So 10,000 and above, then some people came out and they said 5,000 and above, and 1,000 and above. Then they kept quiet. Then I squeezed my face. I stood there like this. I said, what will happen here? And said, okay, all of you that come. I danced to the phone. And dropped my. It's like it was 200 naira. I said that I dropped. It must be out of that which you have. It must be what from your heart, purposed in your heart. What's the next line there? It says, not grudgingly. Sometimes you give because they force you to give. It's not like that. God doesn't have to. He said, every man has not grudgingly. Then he said, not of necessity. Not because the church needs money. No. Not because you don't have choice. You must. No. It's not like that. God is not a beggar. For God loveth a cheerful giver. In other words, even when you are giving all the money in your bank account, God says, child, see the way color they give me this. He say, not, it is well. No, God say, Oh, that no, that only there. But I said, no. It is where God. Joba ṣe gbọ́jà bóyá jẹ́. The pastor ni agbọ́dọ̀ give owó yìí. Èmi ò lè fún yín o. Abba. And then we have defiled the offerings of God. If you are pastors tomorrow, please watch how you collect money. It is accepted according to that which a man has, of a willing heart. God, tap your neighbor and say, God loves a cheerful giver. Even when you are giving to your friend, give it cheerfully. That wristwatch you love so much, when you are giving it, give it cheerfully. Say, smile and give. Tap your neighbor and smile. Smile and give. All right? The Lord is our God, and He will help us. All right? So this is the end of our class today. Give God praise in the house. All right, so we want to stand up on our feet and say, Lord, open my hands. Do those hands like this. Now, don't go yet. Please, let's pray together before you go. Do those hands like this and say, Lord, open my hands. Close those hands and say, Lord, open. Please don't go yet. Please just give me some few minutes. We'll get out. Close those hands and say, Lord, open my hands. And gradually open it and say, Lord, open my hands. Make me liberal. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Give the Lord a hand of praise in this place.
We believe you are blessed. For further inquiries, contact us at 0706 6051 777 or 005 500 9977. Email us at or visit our website at www.schoolofvirtue.org. From you.